the role, how much has he learnt in the limited time that he's had to play?
Yeah, that's right. And we did know that Perfection was the mid main. Sharp, new to the role. What can he actually bring to the table is such a good question to ask. We don't know. We know that when we look at Direwolves, he was more of a pseudo support carry role. It was always in the back doing the damage, while Perfection and King were always what we saw as the carry. So maybe swapping him to the tank role of the top lane will work really well for Direwolves.
Yeah, it might just be an experience thing there. And you know what? Those are our thoughts on that swap. We'd love to get yours as well. The Direwolves, a massive team from last season. But get on Twitter and use that hashtag IamOPL. Just give us your thoughts on the matches, the players, the role swaps, or hey, just the big plays.
Yeah, that's right. We don't know what's going to happen this game because we have the brand new team coming in here on Absolute and up against Rivals with the swap. Lots can come from this that we don't know of.
And you know, we saw Sing Gaming earlier this evening. A couple more veterans in the lineup, so knew a bit more about them. But Absolute, Jack Attack aside, the top lane veteran rejoining the squad here. Apart from that, we're going to find out a lot about this team. And this is a fairly big challenge against the Direwolves.
Yeah, this is a really big start to their season. And this will be a very good indication of where they're going to be starting from and how much they'll need to raise the bar as they get towards the end of the season. For all we know, they might just come out guns blazing and beat Direwolves.
Well, we'll have to see just how fast they come out here as Absolute ban out Twisted Fate and Alistar. So homework done here, apparently banning out against Perfection. And Kalista Rek'Sai, the bans there from the Wolves.
Yeah, getting rid of that Twisted Fate. Perfection has been playing a lot of it since swapping from the top to mid, so smartly getting rid of that. If he loves to rotate and he wants to be in the mid lane, you're better off getting rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want Perfection in your lanes. Trust me, it's just so deadly when he get in any sort of situation. Cassiopeia, the ban there from Absolute. Urgot, actually, the ban there for Direwolves. So, again, some pretty targeted stuff here.
Yeah, just like the last game, we saw a lot of targeted bans, and they seem to have definitely done their research, in fact. They want to get rid of the strongest champions for each person in their respective role.
Yeah, Jack Attack, though, on the Maokai, actually has Ignite Teleport currently selected. Don't know if we're going to be seeing the Ignite Teleport Maokai, but Jack Attack, a big Maokai player. It's one of the best top laners you can pick.
Yeah, perfect for what Jack Attack likes. He's very standard to the meta, loves to play the tanks, and Maokai is such a great first pick. And getting rid of that, there's still a lot of options for the top, of course, but Jack Attack loves his Maokai. They may as well first pick that one.
And it's just a matter of what does Sharp play. If he's new to the top lane, you have to think he's trained Maokai. That's the first top laner you have to know how to play in this meta. But taken away here, a strong first pick from Absolute, just because Sharp, his champion pool on the top side is almost something that no one knows anything about.
Yeah, we don't really have a lot of information on what Sharp's going to be able to do, but there is still the Rumble. Perhaps he was a mid-main. Let's get some ability power carries in the top lane. That might just be what he continues to do.
I mean, mages are fine. Perfection actually played a lot of them in the last season. Oh, that was quite a few metas ago. It was Nautilus, Shyvana are the Dial's first two picks. We've seen this from Legacy in the last game. Very tanky support and jungler.
And not a big surprise at all to see the Nautilus and the Sejuani taken away straight away. Tanky, Cinderhulk meta. There's not much more you can say about it at this stage. We've touched on it so many times, and maybe, I guess, the big surprise is that they didn't go for the Gragas. They opted straight away into the Sejuani.
That's a good point, actually, and that does leave Gragas over to Malik there, so we're going to have Cooler on the Jinx. That was one of his big champions in the Challenger Series, so I like that pick up there. They do tend to play around their AD carry quite a bit to Absolute, so if they can peel for this Jinx and keep her safe, that'll be just fine.
Yeah, definitely. They've already got the makings of a really good team composition to work around the Jinx. They just need a little bit more in the peel department, perhaps. They've already got the Gragas Maokai. They've got quite a lot of peel, but they're going to most likely be in the front line. And given the Hecarim is being hovered right now, if that were to be locked in, you might want to be carefully thinking what you pick up as a support. Maybe even the Morgana.
Yeah, it's so dangerous to pick an immobile carry when Hecarim's open. And again, Sharp, not too sure on his champion pool. Hecarim will be just fine in the matchup. Does very well in the later stages of the game. It's actually locked in there. Perfection, also the Hecarim god, though. So it could crazily be a mid laner as King is going to go back to one of his old standbys from last season. It is a Sivir. We didn't mention it. Direwolves were undefeated on Hecarim. It was banned in almost every game except Legacy that decided we're going to let it through and lose to it twice.
Yeah, that's right. The only team to let the Hecarim through and unfortunately going down to it twice. So you guess you'd say it's a mistake on their part for letting it through at all. And now that he's not in the top lane, not surprised that it wasn't banned.
Yeah.
But then he can still play at mid, I suppose. So we'll see what they go to do with their last pick here. It's very interesting.
Old Oceanic alumni Kane loves the mid Hecarim, so we'll have to see. But we'll leave Dials with their last pick there. It's actually cool to do this on the red side in particular. Perfection. He's like, finally I get to play Hecarim again. But We'll have to see how it works out. Victor actually locked in there for Absolute, so that's mid-beast champion. And Alulu, very strong Peel support as well.
Victor finally being enabled. We are on 5.9, I believe, this patch, so we're on live, and Victor has been able to be used. So interesting to see that that has been hovered. Victor's still very strong. And speaking of perfection champions,
I was going to say, I like that both of the champions are really heavy perfection champions.
It should be the Hecarim top lane. It should be the Kassadin mid lane. Not going to be a surprise there. And I guess Sharp is channeling perfection. He would have got some lessons from the Pony God himself and maybe learnt that in the top lane. But we have a look at the finished team comps here. Not to touch too much on Dials, we'll finish off what we think of their team composition, and definitely Scales.
Yep, that's some sick late game.
That's one way to put it, is it scales quite well.
And a really good carry for perfection as well. King, more early aggression, lots of mid-game power, helps get the Hecarim, Sejuani, Nautilus, Kassadin all in this. Shiver's actually great in this comp as well. I like what's going on here from the Wolves. It fits them, and perfection Kassadin, it was good in the top lane, still going to be good in the mid lane.
Yeah, no doubt it's going to be good in the mid lane, especially with that 2-second cooldown once it hits level 16 is just a force to be reckoned with. But on the side of Absolute here, we're looking at a very well-rounded hyper carry and almost like protecting the hyper carry style composition. The Victor is the wild card in the team, I suppose. Is high damage, low mobility, and it's going to be with the Jinx. So we'll see how that actually works coming into this game.
We will, but before we do, we'd like to know your thoughts on who you think's going to win in this match. Get on Twitter and use hashtag ABSWin or hashtag DWWin for either Absolute or the Dialves. Is it the new guys that you fancy, or is it the Dialves, the veterans with some pretty young upstart carry players that they'd quite an impact, I'll say, on the OPL last season.
Yeah, that's right. And certainly don't forget about the new guys. We don't know what they have to offer just yet, so they could come out with a massive surprise and upset what was the second place team last season.
And I think I agree with you with the mid lane matchup, actually. Perfection swapping back to mid lane. His old main, his old standby, and on a very comfortable champion for him. Mid Beast, of course, the new untested player here in the OPL on a wacky champion like Victor. It's been, like you said, a long time since we've seen it. Just on paper, Rusty, how do you fancy the matchup just based on the champions?
Well, to say the least, it's quite a difficult situation to be a Kassadin in. We haven't seen a whole lot of Victor lately just because it has been disabled for such a long time that maybe it's gone through the draft almost completely unthought of. Picking up the Kassadin as the last pick, I believe, into the Victor, though, is a sign of confidence, saying that the lane should go quite well, or so they think. Victor's auto attack damage does do magic, I believe, once they get the Q proc. So the shield's going to help a lot. Most likely look to see Kassadin maxing that shield first to get him through the laning phase. And all you're really looking to do is scale with the rest of your lineup and get through the early stages where it is going to be difficult and push through to the mid and late game stages where your team comp shines.
And I guess our other question has to be Sharp here. Again, that's the other part of the swap from mid to top that the Dialves did in the offseason. Hecarim, wonderful top lane champion. So good. But how much practice does Sharp have on it? How many lessons did Perfection have time to give him in and amongst all of the solo queue that I'm sure has been playing in the mid lane now as well? If Sharp can play Hecarim, I think the swap's justified here.
Yeah, definitely. We don't know what he's capable of just yet, so we will see coming into this game, but he's up against, to say the least, the most experienced member in this game almost in Jack Attack on Maokai, which is one of his most comfortable champions. It's going to be a real test, a real challenge to see what Sharp is capable of coming into this game. Will he be able to overrun what is a very competent and comfortable top laner in Jack Attack, or will he crumble under the pressure of a new lane in the first game?
Yeah, and the matchup's interesting as well because it's not massive in either side. I think Maokai probably favored at certain points of the matchup, but it's almost skill intensive in a way. There's lots of interactions. You have to trade effectively. Hecarim needs to secure his farm, and it can be difficult to do when you're newish to the champion. Sharp, I believe, does have Ignite, so a bit more pressure, which I like, especially if Sybil wants to join in the lane. That's the only way they ever get ganks there. So maybe look to Sejuani, get creative like Carbon, start getting aggressive in the top lane.
Yeah, get creative like Carbon is a good way to put it, I suppose.
It's a good slogan, actually.
Yeah, it's almost a slogan for Carbon there to steal. You do need a bit of creativity, I suppose. And looking at the top lane matchup itself, it's true that it does require a lot of intensive micro-mechanical skill from both of the players. But the big difference is what we just touched on, is that Sharp's new to it. Jack Attack's going to be very comfortable. Will Sharp be able to utilize this matchup rightly, get all the helicopter Hecarim damage down and push the Maokai out of the lane, or will he need the jungler to come and put pressure?
I mean, it's going to have to be the interesting point here because Direwolves' top half of the map looks relatively strong from the picks, and we go down to the bottom half here as well. Kulo, the big carry here on a comfort champion in Jinx. The team needs to protect him. They've got decent tools to do so. I like the Lulu actually over the Janna, which is another big priority pick of Strawbells, just to add a bit more meat, I guess, and just a bit more... I guess it's slightly more foolproof, I guess, because it's not just like, oh, I timed a shield and now you're, or mistimed a shield and now you're dead. It's like, yeah, here, have a bunch of health. You'll be fine.
Yeah, Lulu's going to be quite good in the support position in this instance. They needed something, some kind of support utility for the Jinx, or maybe even for the Victor, depending on how the fight starts. And Lulu's quite able to do both, having the ultimate and the shield. And then the Glitter Lance to slow people, just to stop them from getting near Yuki, or Kulo, as he is now called.
Now.
Yeah, so against the Hecarim, actually, funny enough, quite a smart pickup because the Glitter Lance will slow by an exceptional amount.
Yeah.
And unless the Unstoppable Onslaught is available, you're not going to be able to get next to it.
No, I actually really like it against Kassadin. I was thinking about it. I was like, why did they didn't pick Janna? It's because Janna's awful against Kassadin. That was sort of the whole reason Kassadin started to become good again. Same with Lissandra. Janna, the queen of peel. Can't peel Kassadin and Lissandra. They're just too good at getting in. So Kassadin jumps in, Polymorph, kill perfection, because he's the big carry you have to worry about. And all of a sudden, things look okay.
Yeah, and the Polymorph, probably one of the most underrated spells that a Lulu has. The duration feels way too long, and you don't want to be stuck as a cupcake for upwards of 2 seconds. It puts you in an awkward position, especially as Kassadin, who wants to be in and out. If you go in, and then you're stuck in, you're most likely going to take a lot of damage.
Yeah, good against the reset potential that Kassadin's like to get as well. You know, we've seen a lot of Athenes as the third item. Get in, get your proc, get all your mana back, and keep using your Rift Walks with its nice new short cooldown. Much like a Jigsaw, if nobody dies as the first kill, you can't get that reset as Kassadin.
Yeah, and the bottom lane of Absolute is up against the Sivir and Nautilus, though. If they choose to take the 2v2 lane, and quite a difficult lane, I would say, to get through if you're on the side of Absolute. The front line, the tankiness. I guess Lulu does have a lot of base stats to really allow her to come through strong, but up against the Nautilus is just going to be straight in your face and a massive, immovable pest. It's pretty hard to get that Jinx ramped up in levels where the Sivir's going to be able to push you under the turret and put you in a bad position where you're susceptible to either ganks or you have to push and then you're even more susceptible to them.
Yeah, not discounting a player like King who's so aggressive. So going to love to see how this game plays out, especially in the early stages. We're here for our last match of OPL Week 1, Day 1. Absolute over on the blue side versus the Direwolves on the red.
And Absolute having a very unique, interesting strategy, looking to go towards that top Tribush's 5, whereas Direwolves getting Sharp to go top, place one early ward before rotating themselves. A confidence play here from Direwolves, knowing that this is going to be the reaction from Absolute. So very smart.
And some big stacks here for both sides here. As you can see, lots of invades coming through. And that usually tells us one thing, Rusty. Someone's looking for a lane swap. In fact, both sides might be checking for it.
Well, given the way the wards are coming out, it may not even be that they're both looking for a lane swap just yet. Only 1 minute into the game, you can see Direwolves now finally placing their deep wards to see if the lane swap's going to come out. Maybe they're both just looking to stop each other, or they want the Jinx, which would be a good decision. Put her in that top lane where she can get some experience to get through the laning phase, get some levels even, and put them into the queue so she's got more range and can start to do more for the team.
Yeah, and Jinx is great against Sivir, but you really do want your first AD purchase, usually a BF sword, to try and carry the lane.
Yeah.
The other thing is what Sharp's done here. He's got Ignite, not Smite. He is awful when it comes to jungle follow compared to that Smite that we see quite a bit more often from the Hecarim. So a lane swap punishes both Sharp and the bottom lane as well.
And they've managed to predict the lane swap without getting vision, I believe, of what was actually happening. But you can see Absolute's wards have spotted it. And we'll see if they look to stay in the lane. They want to get the Gromp experience, perhaps.
I mean, they're going to help Malik by the looks of things. Colo kind of knows that, all right, we're not freezing the lane anymore. I guess I'll help my jungler.
So they're opting to take the 2v2 matchup here, even though they had vision and knowledge that it was happening. Perhaps they were looking to stop the lane swap from Direwolves, where Sivir would have pushed.
I think they have no choice at that spot because it's like, well, we spotted them, but we spotted it too late. So a good guess from Direwolves, I guess, as far as vision goes, because they managed to get the swap that I assume they wanted, or at least the lanes they wanted, now in the 2v2 lane in the top side.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the wards are placed there for the purpose of seeing them, but if you walk to lane late, you're not able to rotate anyway. So usually if you're looking for a lane swap, you sit in the mid lane so that you can rotate based off what you see. So seemingly wanting to get each other in lane, but both lane swapping at the same time, predicting it. It's a very unique position to say the least.
I mean, it's kind of funny to say, but if you stay in the mid, you end up to lane late as Cooler gets grabbed by Chopper. Aggression already from the Dials. Good Chomper, so it's a hit level 2. Ignite is down. Heal is used. Very well played by Absolute.
Absolute managing to stay alive, but taking an abundance of damage here from the Direwolves lineup as that level 2 Chuffer and King able to completely punish them. And this is what we were talking about, whether the range advantage is there or not. At level 2, Civ and Nautilus, exceptionally tanky with a lot of damage. They're going again.
Yeah, Chopper finds it there. King actually uses heal for movement speed. Chomper's not good enough. Strawbella lockdown as well. Last order comes in. King goes in and gets the double kill.
Straight away in this game, a double kill. Level 2 from the King and Chuffer, knowing their limits and knowing the capabilities of their champions up against this Jinx and Lulu. Not very easy to have pressure in this lane as a Lulu and Jinx just yet, and they need to get past that stage. Well done from Direwolves.
I mean, you can see why they wanted the 2v2. King and Chuffer, probably the most aggressive duo in the OPL, and did not hesitate to give King a double. And all of a sudden, we flash back to split 1, and King is right back where he started.
Yeah, King hasn't changed a bit, it seems, in this break. 2-0. At 3 minutes and 50 seconds into this game, he's going to be a beast on that Severin.
And they've got no summoner spells. That's exactly how the Direwolves duo likes to play it. Chuffer usually feels pretty uncomfortable when his flashes off cooldown, so he's already used it.
What did we call him before? The Denian of support, needing that flash down at all times and using it offensively.
Can you imagine that duo lane, by the way?
No.
No flashes anywhere. It's Perfection in the mid side, going to clean out a couple creeps, keeping the wave actually in a really smart spot. You can see Perfection, known for stellar mechanics and knowledge, showing it off already in the mid lane.
Yeah, being able to sit quite comfortably in this lane. Even Sybil coming around, showing a bit of pressure. And Mid Beast on that Victor, not going to be able to push Perfection or the Sejuani out. He's just going to have to sit there and take it at the moment anyway.
Perfection's so good. I love watching his play. Chuffer, yeah, he's here now as well. No Riftlock, unfortunately. Slow just misses. Chuffer, though, gonna land the hook, but don't want to follow in there. Chuffer, no more flashes to go in with. Has to give up the kill.
Yeah, unfortunately missing the Force Pulse there, trying to get it without walking into the stun that Victor had placed down. So perhaps if he'd saved it, he would have been able to walk around off the Nautilus stun, and a bit more kill pressure there might have forced something else, but there was no flash available. So
yeah, Perfection level 5 though, navigating the lane very well. We thought that it might be a tricky matchup actually coming through, but Victor's forced back early already, and you can see Kulu and Strawbella have already swapped themselves back down at the bottom. I did not like that 2v2 one bit.
I certainly wouldn't want to go back to the 2v2 when you have no summoners available, and though the Direwolves bot lane doesn't, it's still going to be a very bad position as they might be getting Strawbella to hurt.
It was creative there by Chopper, actually. Level 3 Lulu, quite squishy here as Sharp. Going to keep going in, but Cooler, good lance there coming in. Chompers do wear off though, and Sharp, he'll be safe on the Hecarim.
Chuffer basically walking around the map, commanding respect everywhere he goes, just stamping the foot down and putting some pressure essentially every lane so far. King's able to solo lane against Jack Attack at the moment quite comfortably, given the fact that he had a pickaxe this early in the game, even getting the boots, and the fact he has the spell shield. King's in a great position.
There's equal levels as well, and King, we've seen him in 2v2s, we've seen him in lane swaps, looks so comfortable and is always aggressive in the matchup, so he'll be just fine. 42 to 29 CS already between those AD carries. Jack Attack is getting the better of Sharp in the farm in top side though, so at least getting an advantage there for the Maokai.
And it's definitely worth noting at the same time while we're talking about CSing, the Gragas is about 14 ahead, so hyper farming right now, just getting as much as possible to have an impact once he hits level 6, I suppose, and wanting to get there before Sybil would be the main key so that you can gank first.
Yeah, to finish off the lanes, I guess the shot, never mind. Down on the bottom side, great polymorph there coming through for Lulu. Kulo gonna claim the kill, and wonderful pressure by Gragas.
And just as I say that, level 6 Gragas comes into lane. They manage to pick up a kill onto Sharp, who doesn't have the flash, opting for the Ignite and Teleport, which is standard, but easy to pick him off.
Yeah, Perfection, though, is ahead in CS in his lane as well, keeping it at about 20, keeping the shortwave controlled nicely as Jack Attack all in there by King, more or less. He's going to be forced back as well, but Cassidy now level 6, decent mana pool as well. I like the early blasting one for a bit more aggression and wave clear, and ABS, good rotation though in response, going to get the Dragon.
Yeah, getting the kill in the bot lane and having the numbers advantage is going to be able to secure them this Dragon. I think they had vision on Sejuani not too long ago, so it was quite a convincing decision on whether they should go for the Dragon or not. And Perfection being level 6 now is going to make this lane just that little bit harder than it already was.
Yeah, Malik says hello there in the mid side, but Perfection keeping everything okay. And if the jungler comes, especially once Sybil's level 6, Midbeast will die almost instantly. He still doesn't have his flashback up. He's got to wait about 20 more seconds. But thankfully, I don't think Sybil's going to be 6 by then.
No, they're not going to really have an exceptional amount of kill pressure at the moment. It's quite comfortable here from the entire side of Direwolves, besides that of Sharp, who feels as though he's the only one who can die. Civ is just so far ahead, has that on the hunt available now, I believe. Solo farming experience should be quite far ahead in levels, and the second that they rotate Sivir back to the bot lane,
yep, Chuffer flashing in, uncomfortable with the flash again. Kulo taking damage, Sharp claims that kill, and Chuffer once again just flexing those muscles. So much aggression.
Yeah, Chuffer playing to his standard now, using the flash the second it was off cooldown, what we just spoke about prior, and securing a kill under the turret, not even using his ignite, letting Sharp get it.
Actually had his ulti, I think. Doing 6 in the exchange also didn't need it, so Sharp does claim the kill. Nice play there between the new top laner and the support there of Dials as Jack Attack. He has returned to the top side, but getting a little zoned here by King, who's level 7, I believe, right now. So currently matching the solo laners.
Yeah, it is nice to know that the synergy for the Direwolves is still there, even though they've swapped lanes. And this level advantage that the Sivir is going to start having over the Jinx is going to be disgusting when they swap back, isn't it?
I mean, Kulo does not want anything to do with his level 5 right now, despite the BF sword. King, I'm sure, has got a massive stack of gold to go spend, and Jack runs out of mana trying to stop the push. He has to go back again.
He's having a pretty bad time, to say the least. King putting the pressure down and stamping the foot as we see the amount of gold that King's currently got right now. And you compare that to the Jinx at this stage of the game, 9 minutes, and it's over 1,000 difference.
Yeah, so he's 1,000 ahead, got a BF sword and maybe boots if he didn't already have them banked up as far as gold. So it might look like BF sword versus pickaxe, but King at this point is in reality a pickaxe up.
Yeah, and the second he recalls, it'll most likely be after this turret he's just secured. We'll come to the bot lane with Berserker Greaves and a BF sword at a guess. Maybe go for the crit cloak with the BF sword. This 2v2 is going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Kulo now finally level 6, but 2,300 gold almost banked up there. King is going to go back for that shopping trip. Sharp does have his teleport, so can go back to the top if he wants. King is getting bullied out by Jack, who's trying to make sure that shopping trip doesn't happen, and Malik down in the bottom looking for another gank.
Yeah, they need to try and utilize this time where they're stopping the Sivir from recalling it. Jinx has the BF sword, so it is a big power spike. They've managed to get a kill onto the Jinx, which is going to help a lot, and they are using it now.
Oh, good ulti there. Chuffer in trouble. Ulti, though, comes through. Sybil goes come through. 2-man ulti from the Sedge. Malik, though, does claim Chuffer. Sharp doesn't have his ulti quite yet. Strawberry, she has to run away there. Does get the kill, and Sharp finally gets his ulti. Nails the double. Malik now getting kited around as well. Sybil trying to get it done, but there's the shutdown coming through for Gragas. Sybil does get the knock-up. Damage is good, but no follow-up there, and Gragas gets away.
And a 2-for-2 trade in the end right there. The Gragas initiating it all with the explosive cast, turned around straight away with the Sejuani ultimate, sticking them all in place. And nobody really in a good position from that trade. In fact, Jinx not getting the kill. That's going to hurt a little bit. Gragas picking up both of those kills. He's going to have to utilize those kills that he now has. The money he's just gotten from this, and Sharp. Wow.
Yeah, going in actually onto Jack, just trying to knock him back. Jack attack. That was a sick arcane smash, though, and King just busy farming. He's like, yep, keep him busy, Sharp, I'll take the creeps.
Even the twisted advance straight after it was just as sick, stopping any of the damage coming out from the Heck Room. As we're going to see a replay of this last fight. And the initiation right there, straight onto Kulo, the turnaround after the Gragas ultimate, destroying him straight away. They did pick up a kill on Chuffer immediately, but there was nothing to follow it up with after that, and Jinx going down.
Yeah, Chuffer actually taking out Jack Attack, so roaming again with those Moby boots up to the top side of the map. Chuffer's just applying pressure all over the shop, and it's not the Berserker Greaves, it is the crit cloak with the BF sword. King almost done with his Infinity Edge on Kulo. He's going to see King and just want to run away. He's 2 levels down.
And about 40 CS while we're going. The difference between them is exceptionally large, and you're going to want to recall pretty soon if you're Kulo and put Maokai back into the bottom lane, or you're going to take the 2v2, take the risk let them push you in. They'll get the turret eventually, but it's a sacrifice that you're going to have to make if you want last hit.
I mean, the thing that Malik was trying to do was try and trade for turrets, so King didn't come back to the bottom lane, and they weren't down a turret. Unfortunately, the jungler came back in, and that's exactly where they find themselves. And immediately, Kulo and Strawbella leave the bottom lane to their turret.
The second that Chuffer appears, they just nope the hell out of there. They want nothing to do with that, and rightly so. The difference between them is too big.
And you can see Sybil there, waiting in the wings there. Chuffer clears out a ward. King going to keep trucking down the mending waves. Perfection, by the way, in and amongst all this, has farmed up a Storm at 111. Make it more CS as he gets them under turret. Watch him get almost all of them, by the way. 115 CS now to 85. Rod of Ages already done. Perfection. It's not the top lane, but the mechanic's still there.
Yeah, he's got his Rod of Ages at about 12 minutes, which is amazing buy timing for the Rod of Ages. Exceptional item timing. He's going to be big.
That was great there by Chuffer and King. A good boomerang blade, but Malik, ulti not quite there. Chuffer is forced to flash, though, and King just going to go back to the minions. The Sybil, he's looking for a spot to try and get the ulti coming through, but 3v4 right now. I'm not sure they'll fancy that.
They've got the numbers. They might want to look to get the dragon because it has just come live and they already had the first dragon. So the timer was there. The teleport was to look for a gank, but if the gank didn't go in favor of them, they did burn a flash that they can go for the dragon. We'll see what Direwolves can do here, though.
Strawbella in trouble. Perfection diving straight in on there. Sybil does get the knock-up. King with a good boomerang blade as well. ABS just trying to get the Dragon Jack attack, though. Coming a little too early. Takes more damage. Perfection now. How does he do it? He gets a double. Maybe making a triple there as he gets the kill onto Jinx. A great ult from Sybil. Sets that up. Perfection, though, does go down to Malik. Sybil will get revenge, and Victor fighting as best he can, but Sharp pops his ulti, finds it on the mid-beast, forced to flash away, and that should give Direwolves the dragon.
Lulu unfortunately getting caught at the start of this whole ordeal, and it was followed by an amazing Maokai Arcane Smash with the Victor stun. The combo was there, but there just wasn't enough members of Absolute to be able to capitalize on what was a great engage. The damage was almost enough, but not quite enough to blow anyone up. And Perfection getting himself a double kill, 2 assists, and now that Rod of Ages has a needlessly large rod to follow it, and the Dragon's going to go down.
Yep, 1 apiece now in Dragons, 1-0 up in turrets, and a big stack of gold in the lead for the Dolls. We're going to see this again.
So we're looking at the replay, instantly Strawbella going down, and look at the combo right there from the Maokai and the Victor, destroying them, but just not enough members, not enough damage to follow it up. And Perfection goes a little bit too deep. He had the option to run away, I think, or he was actually going to die anyway, just decided to suicide to that of Malik, who is doing as much work as he can. Mid-beast, not able to do anything with no mana, forcing the flash, and they have to take their losses.
And it's funny to me that Perfection swapping to the mid lane, back on a champion that he was known for in mid, but also has played in top, I believe, last season as well. It's just the exact same playstyle. Stay in mid, outlane, outfarm your opponent, eventually roam to fights, and all of a sudden, you're here with 130 farm at 15 minutes and somehow picking up a casual double.
Well, I think I was writing notes on what Direwolves had done, assuming they'd done the lane swap prior to this game happening. And when I wrote down my information for Sharp, I didn't know a whole lot, so it was based off playstyles. Perfection, I wrote hard carry.
Yep, and that's exactly how he's playing in this game. Get the farm, show up to fights at the opportune moment, use those sick mechanics to pick up kills, and Cassinan, it's a really old school champion for Perfection, given he actually has been playing quite a long time, at least in the scene, if not competitively, he's actually quite new there. But Cassinan is a champion that everyone associates with him, just like Hecarim. And looking great here is Sharp. He's in trouble. Malik comes in. Hecarim's going to get dove there. Damage not quite enough. Jack attack flashes out of the way, and Malik claims it.
Malik, unfortunately, hitting the turret twice with that extra damage buff. Really unlucky.
Sybil going to get Jack here as well by the looks of things. Does claim at Malik's ult. Not good there, unfortunately. Sybil going to keep chasing. Look who's here. It's Perfection. Wants to claim a kill for himself and will do so handily. Oh, never mind. Sybil stole it.
I was going to say, Perfection back into his natural habitat from the last pick.
Yep.
Last split. Trying to pick off a kill there, but Sybil going to be too strong. The damage too high. 404 on that Sejuani.
Good rotation, though, from Absolute. Give them a turret in the mid. So 1-2 now, and turrets take the crucial mid there as well. Kulo down in the bottom, and he just wants to buy as much time as he can to farm.
That's all they want to do at the moment, but it's so hard against this.
Dials want to fight that. Sharp, a good hook, but Strawbella gets out of it. Sharp, though, will claim the kill, and a very reckless Direwolves-looking dive gives them 2 kills.
A very assertive play from Direwolves, to say the least. They know what they're capable of, and they're just pushing it in. And forcing every objective that they can do. Even if it's just for a single kill, they're going to dive for it.
And that's how they play. Relentless aggression. We've talked about it with King. We've talked about it with Shuffer. Perfection and Sharp, especially on these champions, no hesitation to go in either. And Sharp, actually a fairly rough lane. He's building Trinity for us. He'll get there eventually. And the Global God from his team's helping, but down quite significantly in CS. So maybe the top lane, especially with that... No, it wasn't even a swap, actually. No, there was. No, there wasn't. Never mind.
There wasn't.
There was, but they ended up in the 1v1 lanes. You know, maybe not quite there as far as the lane mechanics and matchups go yet, but playing a new initiation role quite well here on the team.
Well, the big thing to point out is the impact that Absolute were putting into Sharp. They were picking on Sharp a fair amount. He is the one with 3 kills on their team. So that was a lot of where Absolute's focus was, where Malek was spending a lot of his time. So rightly so, he is a little bit behind when it comes to the farm. And you have Jack Attack, who I'd say had a free lane, but that's pretty hard to say given he was against a 2-0 Sivir with an item advantage. But farming successfully under the turret was a big deal. And laning now in the 1v1, quite difficult for Sharp until he starts to ramp up.
Yeah, and for me, it's just Sharp's ultis that have been on point. Or King going to go in 1v2, gets exhausted, going to cut it off. That goes in onto Cooler. King gets polymorph. He, although used in there, gets the first kill. Doesn't get it onto Strawbella, though. But that was a King moment.
Strawbella not having the ultimate available, so close to being off cooldown, managing to get the trade in a 1v1, dodging everything, even wasting the spell shield, I believe, at the start of that fight, and still getting a successful trade in a 1v2.
Now,
King being King.
I mean, yeah, that is King being King, but it's interesting to note, oh, never mind, Sharp going to get dove again here. Jack Attack will line it up. Malek's here again. Ulti comes through, not too bad, but Sharp actually a little too far away. Sybil here, though, for the counter gang. Jack Attack maybe going to take a bit too much damage. Good ulti going to keep him in place. Sharp just dives back in, steals the kill from Sybil, and Malek now going to get knocked up as well. Perfection's here, of course, and the horse gets the double.
Sejuani stealing the kills before. Looks like Sharp's getting his revenges. We're going to have a look at the replay of this, and look at the way that King manages to turn it around and forcing flashes, dodging the glitter lance from the Lulu right there. So well done. And that was the difference between getting no kills and making it a trade.
And again, King's playstyle. Keep down in the bottom side, keep pushing, get all the farm you can fight for. Doesn't matter if you die, you'll get a trade, you'll outplay somebody. And this used to be what they did with Perfection as well. They would just stay in lanes and pendulum between the top and bottom getting farm. With Perfection being mid, that's actually not as viable anymore, but he's maybe allowed to roam a bit more and have earlier impact in the game.
Yeah, I guess the bigger difference is that now Perfection's going to be one of the people that's a part of the pendulum, actually going back and forth between Sharp and King now. And Perfection, we've seen he loves to hard carry, so put him in a lane with King in a gank. It's going to go very well for Direwolves if we can assume that much.
Oh, Strawbella, they're going to get King turns around, massive crit, and Perfection finally going to get himself another kill. Has been robbed so many times by his teammates as the Wolves. They're down the bottom trying to push the tier 2.
King utilizing that crit RNG that's liking him so much at the moment, going to continue. And the amount of damage that he's doing with these crits is absurd.
I mean, I'm convinced that if you're a good player, you know, you crit a little bit more. That's why that was what we said about Rady back in there. I think we can say about King as well, because when you play this well, you deserve the crits. That's what it's telling me.
Well, that's what we used to call it in a 1v1. If you managed to die to a crit, it was the Raider crit, that lucky rune securing you the kill. So King channeling Raider, I suppose, in that respect, but this Sivir is scary.
I mean, King's had a breakout last season. Like, Raider was very impressive when he came onto the scene. Had a great season, of course, with the Chiefs in Split 1 there as well. But King, to me, had probably the most successful breakout of any member of the OPL here is Malek. He's sort of fighting a couple members of the Wolves. They are going to pick up the Dragon, waiting for the Gragas barrel. Smart stuff there. Goes back in, wants to try and take the Dragon. Perfection waiting for him. King knows going to claim the kill.
He was going all or nothing for the Dragon. They didn't want to give up the Dragon, I suppose. And even though it was the second Dragon buff, it was worth going for to stop Direwolves from getting the Dragon. The death time is only 20 seconds at the moment, and as for objectives, not a whole lot to get besides the Dragon, so not a bad decision to suicide for it and worth giving it a crack.
I mean, at this point, Absolute, trading for objectives is probably the minimum for them here at this point. Mid-piece, they're going to get aggressed on. Ulti's used everywhere. Depth charge will follow, and Sharp's going to get the kill. Perfection, he wanted it again. He dived in so far.
Perfection trying as he might, getting there just too late.
Oh my God, King!
What?
Flash ulti over the wall, spell shields the Chompers, and just takes out. No! Doesn't get Kulo. Strawbella there with the ulti, and King, that's very uncomfortable in the enemy base. Going in, crit Strawbella though. Oh, Kulo with the ulti takes him out. That was King out of 10. Wonderful.
8 out of 8, mate. That was phenomenal. King just... What can you say?
He hasn't changed.
Doing what Chuffer likes to do almost. The second flash is available, use it aggressively, flashing over a wall and straight away throwing out the boomerang blind, just trying to do damage to someone.
It's just...
He gave it his best crack.
I mean, it's part of why King racked up so many MVPs last season. He's just reckless in his aggression. And again, he's got the skill to back it up. It's not always just insanity, but... I'm sad it didn't work because it would have been brilliant, but that's still... If you're just tuning into the OPL, if you didn't catch last split, that right there is basically King's last split in a nutshell.
Yeah, if you were to look at a highlight reel of what King does, it was usually a 1v3 situation where he doesn't really care that much and goes aggressive and gets a kill at least.
I mean, look at his farm, and he's just sticking in lanes. He's picked up so much farm just being solo in the bottom lane. Looks like he's getting the blue buff, actually, at this point. Going to take it away from Perfection. Not sure how Perfection's going to fancy that. Never mind. Maybe just taking the small ones for a bit of extra gold.
Oh, I wouldn't count it out just yet. King seems to be having a little bit too much fun with this game right now, getting carried away almost.
And in 5, 2, and 6, Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, building towards the Bloodthirster now as well. We saw it from him when he was ahead last split. Can't blame him here. He's just him and his team are so far ahead. Level 14 on this server. He's a higher level than his mid laner.
It's weird seeing AD carries 2 games in a row. We first saw it with Tallywhacker. Now we're looking at it again with King. Just sitting in the side lanes and split pushing. And what is worth noting in that regard is that they're both very good at split pushing. So the Tristana with the explosive shot was exceptional at taking down turrets. Now Siva has the auto attack reset and just such a good sieger. Just renowned for the ability to siege. And speaking of, a turret going down in mid.
The 6th turret now there for Direwolves. That's all of the outer and inner turrets, I believe. So only the inhibitor turrets left here. Kulo spotted by a ward there as well as Direwolves. They're looking at a quick Baron here. 24 minutes in, and ABS, they have to clear out some vision.
They're definitely getting a little bit aware of the fact, especially with where all the vision is that Malik is clearing, that Baron is a real possibility. They do have a single ward in that area also, so whilst they don't have vision of the... Well, they do now, of the entire Direwolves side. They know that Baron is the likely plan of attack.
Yeah, no sweepers, unfortunately, just yet here. They're going to have to wait it out for a little bit longer. Pink ward's all used up. Actually, Chopper has his, so going to spot off a ward. Good Raptor sense there, I think, actually. The buff you get from smiting that camp, helping Sybil to clear out a ward as well. But absolutely no, they have to try and contest here. Sharp's going to go back. Actually has Home Guard, Spirit Visage, and the Trinity Force just quietly already crept into. Direwolves are so strong at this point. They're, what, 12, 13,000 gold ahead. If absolutely pick a fight here, it's going to be a bloodbath.
I think you look towards what Sharp's going to do right now. He does have the Home Guard on the Hecarim, and he's sitting in base. So wherever the teleport goes, as we see it now, that's where it's going.
Actually, mid lane, Sybil going to line up the ulti.
Oh.
Massive 4-man Sejuani on Sharp. Dives into the back as well. And Absolute just getting destroyed by Direwolves. Malik goes down. Perfection finally gets himself a kill. And that's 3 for 0.
The perfect initiation right there from Sybil, hitting the 4-man Sejuani ultimate, locking them all down. And even though the Victor stunned straight on top of them to defuse the situation, they're so far ahead, that's nothing you can do. The lead right now, 15,000 gold. They may even continue to push here.
I mean, they might just look for the win. The death time is quite low, but they're going to get aggressive and try and take more structures. The game not quite over yet as King, another nice spell shield onto a zap to get a bit more mana. Chopper flashes forward, goes in, Sharp pumps his ulti. Kulo's dead to perfection. Inhibitor goes down, and I don't know what I expected. Chopper, again, uncomfortable with that summoner spell off cooldown.
Yeah, exactly. It's off cooldown. Better use it aggressively. And speaking of which, King's not far off his either. Managing to pick up some more kills there. Kulo's having a very rough time on this low mobility champion of Jinx. Not getting the resets, not getting excited, is in a very awkward position to say the least.
And it's just such a hard game for Jinx. I mean, leave the Sejuani up behind for a second. You can get out of that in reasonable situations with your supports, Mikhails. That Strawbella does have with a QSS, you know, just with some smart positioning. Perfection's going to dive in, Sharp's diving in, Chopper's diving in, of course, because he's going to flash on top of you, and the Silver ulti's there. It's just too much for an immobile carry like Jinx.
The real issue is definitely going to be this Hecarim, having that unstoppable onslaught and picking the Jinx before the Hecarim. I believe Hecarim was the last pick. No, it was the Caston.
No, yeah, it was Caston, yeah.
So picking,
which is also bad.
Well, even with the Hecarim available, going for this Jinx option is just really risky. They know the Sejuani's there, and sure, you can get out of the Sejuani ultimate, but you're not going to be able to peel away from the Hecarim unless the fight goes perfectly in your favor. You put that with the Victor, another low mobility champion, it's going to be quite hard for them to stop this onslaught that Direwolves will present them with.
Yeah, Malik's Gragas ults just have to do almost too much work in that situation, it feels like. In Direwolves, they've broken 2 inhibitors, they're onto the Baron, the ulti's traveling in, but Perfection just going to eat it instead here. Working on a Rabadon as his next item as Malik dives in, looks for a very, very optimistic steal, but Sharp's going to get the kill and Direwolves claim the Baron.
They get 1 kill, they get the Baron. The lead is just beyond ridiculous right now. This is the time where they just want to systematically close out this game and completely bleed out Absolute Gaming. They're going to go for the 3rd tower, the 3rd inhibitor, and once they lock this down, they've got the Baron minions and they've got a big enough item lead that they should be able to give ending a crack.
Yep, Chopper going in there, looks for the hook, does not land at King. Pops his ulti, goes in onto Kulo. Polymorph just managing to save the Jinx, and he's just face tanking the tank at this stage. King aggressively zoning everyone. Oh, his flash is on cooldown. That's not what he's on. Mid-beast gonna get ulted though. Sharp diving into the backside. Perfection gonna go in deep there. Jack attack just taking way too much damage. King, he's gone in, he's already flashed in aggressively. Direwolf's gonna take out the turrets. Kulo in the backline trying to do something. Sybil goes in for a very optimistic ultimate. Malik gets locked up, forced to flash back into the fountain, and King, he wants more kills. He wants to cut the KDA, but instead him and his team will find another win.
Direwolves just so far ahead at this stage that it was near impossible for the Absolute Gaming side to come back into this game and put themselves in a better position. Every member of Direwolves doing exceptional work, so strong, and what a first game coming back into the second split.
Look, an Absolute definitely fighting well there against a very tough side, so a difficult first match there for your OPL, but I'm sure they'll be back through the rest of the season playing well, but just so hard, especially when King and Chuffer, you saw it. They sought out the 2v2, went in aggressively, and people have to watch out, man. Chuffer and King love to level 2 all new, and they're so good at it. Yeah,
definitely. They were exceptionally good at that, and wow, the fact that they managed to pick up those kills and translate it into being able to 1v1 the Maokai is so aggressive.
Yeah, really aggressive. I think we're going to see a bit of that aggression. Let's have a replay here from this game as we're about 10 minutes relatively early into the game, Rusty.
This was one of the big team fights that got Sharp back into this game, rolling on the bandwagon as we'll roll the clip. You can see Absolute trying to initiate the fight, trying to catch Chuffer out of position. They do get the kill here straight away, but that Sejuani ultimate locking them down, putting them in a very awkward position. Kulo's ultimate doesn't do any damage from point blank range, and Sharp picking up the double kill. This is where he really started to get that ball rolling and getting starved out in the early game as Malik does pick up the double kill. Not going to be able to help the rest of his team because the kills did go onto a Gragas and not the Jinx.
And we didn't talk about the other change actually for the lineup that much here for the Direwolves, but Sybil and Sejuani had fantastic ultimates all game long as the new member of their lineup.
Oh, so exceptional. He was hitting all of the skill shots and a very convincing victory for Direwolves.
Yeah, really strong stuff. We're going to have another replay here as well. I hope it's this. Yes, it is. Rusty, take it away.
Where do I even start right now? Let's all first look at the fact that King has Flash and Ultimate available. So just roll the clip and watch it unfold. Uses straight away every spell that he has in his kit. Aggressively just running at Kulo, no regard for anything that Absolute has to offer, being the ultimate manly person. And right now it looks bad. Turns it around to Strawbella, getting that RNG radar crit. Not able to get anything, but that is signature King, isn't it?
I mean, it cost. King had no summoners, no ultimate.
Doesn't matter.
And they needed a Gragas, a Lulu, their Jinx, the Wild Growth, and their Exhaust to make sure that at least one of them didn't die.
That's exactly right.
That is King to a T and a very strong performance from Dial. So let's check in with the rest of the results here as well from our teams today. We had everyone play today for the opening day of Split 2 of the OPL. A close first game here, Rusty, but the Chiefs took it out.
Yeah, definitely. Chiefs coming out quite convincingly towards the end of that game. And coming into the second game, Avant managing to close out a convincing game.
Yep, and the Sudden Fear versus Legacy saw Legacy take the win and a very entertaining final match there.